Imagine you're sipping champagne in a gilded penthouse living room, where the city lights stretch out like scattered diamonds below. Music pulses softly, laughter floats through the air. And at the heart of this opulent setting stands billionaire investor Liam Rothschild, grinning from ear to ear, beside a stunning woman who is most definitely not his wife. Tonight, secrets are whispered, boundaries are crossed, and betrayal gleams like gold. But the real bombshell is about to drop, wrapped in two shocking words that will shake Liam's fortress of money and power to its core. This is the story of a lifetime. Brace yourself. Golden sunbeams filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the exclusive Rothschild penthouse overlooking Central Park. Liam Rothschild, heir to an old banking fortune and a revered venture capitalist, often bragged to his circle an eclectic mix of celebrities, business moguls, and even a few political figures that he woke each morning to the world at his feet. Indeed, from his vantage point in Manhattan's most prestigious address, the world did seem small, or at least easily purchased. Liam thrived under these conditions. He'd grown up in a strict household with an overbearing father, Wilson Rothschild, whose philanthropic pursuits were legendary. Wilson's donations to medical research institutes and environmental conservation efforts had garnered mention on talk shows. Larry King once joked that Wilson Rothschild was trying to buy our planet back from catastrophe. Young Liam watched, studied, and eventually rebelled, determined to make a name for himself outside of his father's philanthropic shadow. He would become unstoppable, forging a path to financial success that would dazzle even the stoniest critic. Amid the swirl of multi-billion-dollar deals and champagne-fueled galas, Liam did the unthinkable. He fell in love, or so he thought, with a warm-hearted woman named Sophia Whitmore. She wasn't a celebrity heiress or starlet looking for a sugar daddy. She was a respected environmental lawyer who'd grown up in a small Pennsylvania town. Soft-spoken but fiery in her convictions, Sophia balanced Liam's brashness. When they first met at a climate summit in Amsterdam, arranged by mutual acquaintances including Bill Gates, sparks flew. They danced around the concept of love until it became inevitable. From the start, their relationship was a magnet for public fascination. The tabloids salivated at the idea a philanthropic scion weds an environmental attorney. Their engagement was covered by Vanity Fair, their wedding by the New York Times, and for a while their union appeared to be a fairy tale dream, complete with philanthropic missions, joint partnerships in clean energy investments, and heartfelt speeches at Ivy League fundraisers. But behind closed doors, Liam's ambition grew. He demanded more from life, more excitement, more thrill, more validation, and ironically, more love. He had yet to learn that too much of anything, even love, could burn. Sophia noticed changes in Liam as his net worth skyrocketed, thanks to savvy cryptocurrency investments and hedge fund acquisitions. They spent less time with each other. He cancelled date nights for business dinners with startup founders or impromptu flights to tech conferences in San Francisco. She tried to understand she too was busy with her lawsuits against polluting corporations. Still, a part of her yearned for the early days when they'd debate climate policy over espresso in a tiny Amsterdam cafe. Their 16th floor penthouse in Manhattan was intended to be a shared vision of a life built on commitment. Instead, Liam often roamed its halls alone, or so Sophia thought. Little did she know the lavish interior had grown accustomed to the laughter of someone else, a woman as enchanting as she was cunning. As the months slipped by, rumors began swirling around high society events. A friend of Sophia's, Dr. Emily Donovan, a geneticist recognized by the NIH for groundbreaking research, approached Sophia in a hush-hush manner during a charity ball. "Look, I don't mean to worry you," Emily whispered, "but I've heard talk about Liam stepping out." Sophia tried to brush it off, but anxiety took root. She questioned Liam that night. He brushed her concerns aside with practiced ease. It was around this time that Sophia discovered she was pregnant. She had dreamt of a family with Liam. She believed this child would rekindle their romantic spark, or at least anchor them to a gentler reality. The timing, however, would prove both perfect and disastrous, for in Liam's life, a new flame was already blazing. When paparazzi snapped photos of Liam dining with a mysterious brunette at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Paris, one that Sophia had introduced him to, it made the tabloids. Sophia saw them. Something died inside her that day, though she refused to confront him until she had her facts straight. Liam returned from his business trip with lavish gifts and grand explanations, weaving a web of half-truths so expertly spun that for a moment Sophia questioned her own doubts. That moment of doubt would fade, replaced by quiet resolution. In her mind, she decided that if the rumors were true, she needed to protect herself and her unborn child. The line was drawn. This was no longer a game of guesswork and suspicion. Soon enough, an unassuming name entered the conversation: Camilla Deschamps, a former model turned influencer who'd once graced the cover of Vogue. She was known for her flamboyant presence on Instagram and for some minor controversies that sparked internet debates, like endorsing questionable diet teas and allegedly plagiarizing philanthropic announcements from more reputable charities. Friends whispered that Camilla was Liam's mistress, that he was head over heels for her, whisking her away to private islands and starlit dinners in Rome, that he'd never looked happier. Whether Liam was truly in love with Camilla or merely enthralled by the thrill of secrecy, he didn't pause to analyze. He saw in her a reflection of his own hunger for constant attention, for risk, for validation. Meanwhile, Camilla recognized in him an endless fountain of wealth, a man she could manipulate with well-placed flattery and tantalizing escapades. They were in many ways perfect for each other, at least for a season. Back in New York, Sophia had no intention of being the clueless wife. She listened to her gut, gathered evidence, and made plans. A single call to her old friend, Detective Elias Montgomery of the NYPD, who'd previously assisted with security during one of Liam's high-profile benefits, opened the door to a quiet personal investigation. She wanted facts: where Liam went, who he was with, and what he was doing. Elias was reluctant at first, but eventually agreed out of sympathy for Sophia. Within weeks, the truth was undeniable. Photographs of Liam and Camilla at the Penthouse Arms, entwined lips locked, told the whole story. Tears, heartbreak, disbelief. Sophia cycled through them all, but a fierce protectiveness for the baby in her womb took precedence. She realized the fight ahead was not just for her, but for the life growing inside her. So she gathered her resolve and prepared herself for battle, even if it meant walking away from everything she once cherished. Unbeknownst to Liam, the stage for a final confrontation was set. His world of secrets and indulgences would soon be undone by 2 short, scorching words from his wife's lips. Sophia was coming, carrying all her heartbreak and convictions like a sword of truth, and the day of reckoning was closer than Liam could ever imagine. The hush of anticipation that hovered in the sprawling penthouse living room broke into vibrant chatter as yet another lavish party commenced. Liam sat on a velvet couch, swirling a glass of Louis Roederer Cristal in one hand, while Camilla Deschamps hovered close, her laugh tinkling like wind chimes. The two appeared inseparable under the rose-tinted glow of the crystal chandeliers. Soft jazz played in the background, merging with the hum of idle gossip shared among the glittering guests. Among the invitees were a handful of noteworthy faces. Actor George Clooney had once attended such gatherings, though he now mostly skipped them. Real estate tycoon Tony Huang mingled near the balcony, occasionally checking his phone for updates on a deal in Shanghai. Art curator Yvette Belmondo admired the custom paintings that adorned Liam's walls. And there at the center stood Liam and Camilla, a hush forming around them as if they were the main event. Camilla looked like she had stepped right out of an editorial spread, raven-haired, willowy figure wearing a designer gown that dripped with sequins and clung to her every curve. Men noticed her. Women envied and whispered about her, especially those who recognized her from social media. Rumor had it that she was set to launch a new skincare line in collaboration with a top-tier cosmetics brand. The details sounded suspiciously vague, but in the presence of wealth, such illusions thrived. Standing with them was an old friend of Liam's from his hedge fund days, Marcus Langley, who introduced Camilla as Liam's close companion. The phrase hung awkwardly in the air, but the three of them chuckled, glossing over the unspoken truth that she was, in fact, Liam's mistress. The conversation soon shifted to business, new investment strategies, start-up buyouts in Silicon Valley, and a hush-hush discussion about the next big IPO. Through it all, Camilla beamed and nodded, her mind clearly more focused on Liam's attentions than the intricacies of venture capital. That night, Liam felt intoxicated by Camilla's presence. All reservations melted away in the heat of her gaze. There was no talk of Sophia, and certainly no mention of the child growing inside her. If anything, in that moment, Liam convinced himself that his love life was exactly as it should be, polished, indulgent, and free from the mundane responsibilities of a real marriage. Camilla encouraged the fantasy. She leaned in, letting her breath tickle his ear as she teased him. "One day, I'm going to have my own private island," she said with a smile, "and you'll be invited to come live like a king." Liam smiled back, imagining a sun-drenched paradise where the only concerns were tropical storms and the correct temperature of champagne. He ignored the pang of guilt threatening to surface. Across the room, guests partook in amuse-bouche served by white-gloved waiters. Conversations ranged from a rumored film sequel to hush-hush political dealings in Washington. A group of art critics debated the authenticity of a newly acquired painting by Jean-Michel Basquiat that Liam had proudly displayed. Somehow, amidst the swirl of chatter, Camilla's joyous laughter carried reigning supreme in the gilded space. The midnight hour approached, and Liam, feeling a surge of spontaneous excitement, invited a select group to continue the festivities upstairs on the private rooftop. Only a handful followed Camilla Marcus Tony Huang and an up-and-coming actress named Natalia Stein. Up on the rooftop, the city sparkled like a living tapestry below them. Floodlights illuminated a heated infinity pool surrounded by plush seating arrangements. Fire pits glowed along the edges, warding off the autumn chill. Liam motioned for more champagne. Waiters appeared from hidden corners, and the group toasted to living life without regrets. Camilla stared at Liam with open adoration, her bare shoulder grazing his suit jacket. For a moment, the city's lights and the gentle hum of traffic from below were overshadowed by the intensity of her gaze. He leaned in, brushing his lips across hers, ignoring the cameras that were no doubt capturing every scandalous second. Marcus smirked, Tony feigned indifference, and Natalia shot a quick look of curiosity. Not that any of it mattered. Liam was lost in Camilla's world, a realm of instant gratification and ephemeral thrills. Sometime after 1 in the morning, a subtle shift in tone rippled through the group. The conversation meandered into personal territory. Tony Huang started discussing the difficulties of maintaining a relationship in the high-stakes realm of global real estate. Natalia Stein joked about method-acting heartbreak on her upcoming film. When the topic edged toward the responsibilities of fatherhood, Liam's face stiffened for a fraction of a second. Marcus caught it. Camilla, however, kept laughing, oblivious, or choosing to ignore the hint of disquiet in Liam's eyes. As the party wound down, Camilla accompanied Liam back inside, sliding into the plush bedroom that once symbolized his commitment to Sophia. The city still glimmered beyond the windows, but neither occupant paid any mind to that gilded exterior world. Within those walls it was only them, or so Liam forced himself to believe. Any thoughts of Sophia or their unborn child were shoved aside as Camilla kissed him, sweet and slow. Sensations of desire and guilt battled within. But desire won, as it had so many times before. Eventually, Camilla drifted off to sleep. Liam lay awake, confronted by the lingering shadows of his conscience. He reached for his phone, an expensive custom piece from a limited edition brand favored by celebrities. One unanswered message caught his eye. "Sophia, we need to talk. Call me." His thumb hovered over the notification. The rational side of him knew ignoring his pregnant wife was both cruel and reckless. Yet a part of him clung to the illusion that he could carry on like this without consequence, without having to choose. He placed the phone face down on the nightstand and exhaled heavily. Morning would bring more business meetings, more illusions to maintain, and more excuses to feed Sophia. For now, though, he shut his eyes, lulled to sleep by Camilla's gentle breathing. Had he glanced at his phone one last time, Liam might have noticed the final text from Detective Elias Montgomery, delivered moments before. "We have a development. Call me ASAP." But the phone remained silent, and so did Liam's moral compass, lulled into complacency by the arms of a mistress who laughed freely in the face of all that was about to unravel. An antique grandfather clock chimed softly in Sophia's office, each resonant bell a reminder of time slipping away. She was seated at her desk in her law firm's private suite, a steaming mug of peppermint tea untouched beside her. Legal files lay scattered, many linked to her ongoing environmental cases, oil spills, toxic waste cover-ups, and unscrupulous corporations polluting small-town communities. Ordinarily, she would be deeply immersed in these documents, combing through every detail. But today her gaze remained locked on a small ultrasound image pinned near her computer monitor. "That's your father's nose," she whispered, half smiling at the grainy figure on the black and white printout. She let her fingertips trace the outline of the tiny shape, feeling equal parts love and sadness. Memories of her first months with Liam flooded her, the nights spent passionately debating climate policy, spontaneous weekend getaways to the countryside, and the stolen moments of intimacy that sealed their bond. That man, she believed, still existed somewhere underneath the layers of deception. But illusions had worn thin. A knock at the door announced the arrival of Dr. Emily Donovan, the friend who'd first tipped Sophia off about Liam's rumored indiscretions. Emily stepped in quietly, closing the door behind her. She wore her usual hospital scrubs under a light coat, evidence of her busy day at the research lab. "Any updates?" she asked, gently, placing a small container of homemade cookies on Sophia's desk. Sophia sighed. "None that bring me comfort. Detective Montgomery sent me new photos last night. Liam and Camilla at our penthouse, acting like a couple in their own home. Her eyes flickered with a controlled fury. He hasn't even tried to hide it from the staff. Apparently he's convinced me to be too naive or disinterested to notice. Emily's face fell with empathy. Have you thought about confronting him directly? I will, Sophia said, voice trembling with the weight of her decision. But first, I need to ensure everything is documented. If it comes to a legal standoff, I won't let him twist the facts. I don't just have myself to think about. I have this baby. An uneasy silence followed. Emily gave Sophia's hand a gentle squeeze. I'm here for you always. Remember that. With a final nod, she left, giving Sophia the space she needed. Alone again, Sophia turned her attention to a sealed manila folder on her desk, courtesy of Detective Montgomery. Inside lay page after page of indisputable evidence, timestamps, witness statements from doormen, and high-resolution images that left little to the imagination. She forced herself to examine them, a painful exercise akin to picking at a raw wound. Each revelation confirmed that the Liam she once knew was gone, or had at least lost himself in a fantasy that shattered their vows. Despite the heartbreak, Sophia felt an unexpected surge of clarity. She was no stranger to high-pressure situations, having battled multi-million-dollar corporations in court. Now her personal life had become the ultimate high-stakes case, and she was determined not to lose. Pushing aside tears, she began organizing the documents into categories: dates, financial expenditures, potential witnesses, and more. She wanted no loose ends. In that moment, her phone rang. The caller ID read, Detective Montgomery. She picked up immediately. Hey, Elias, she answered, trying to steady her voice. Sophia, he said, voice brisk. I have more information. I've been digging into Camilla Deschamps' background. She's not just some gold digger. She's ambitious, worked her way into the modeling world. Had a few flings with high-profile men, some hush-hush NDAs, and a string of lawsuits she initiated for defamation or alleged abuse. She usually walked away with some settlement. She's cunning, and if she's latched on to Liam, you better brace yourself. She's not going to let go easily. Sophia closed her eyes. I had a feeling. Thank you for the heads up. The way I see it, Elias continued, she's already playing the long game. You need to be prepared for anything. Trust me, I am. She paused. Any sign that Liam might suspect you've been following him? Not yet. He's too engrossed in his double life, Elias replied. Just be careful, Sophia. If he feels cornered, he might try to flip the script on you. Money and power can buy a lot, including silence. Sophia thanked Elias and hung up. Immediately the phone buzzed again. This time it was Liam. She stared at the screen, her heart hammering. Could he sense she knew? Summoning her composure, she answered. Soph. Hey, Liam said, tone casual, almost too casual. I just realized we haven't spoken properly in days. I've been swamped with a major deal. How are you feeling? I've been better, she replied evenly. I'd like to talk in person. Can you come home tonight? A small hesitation. Tonight might be tough. I've got some out-of-town investors stopping by. Could we shoot for tomorrow? She bristled at the lie, but forced her voice to remain steady. Tomorrow, then. I'll see you at home for dinner. Sure thing, Liam said. Then hesitated. I love you. Sophia swallowed tears threatening to erupt. Goodbye, Liam. She ended the call, ignoring the guilt that bubbled inside her for not returning his phrase of affection. Once again, She was alone in her office, here. The ultrasound image seemed to call out to her, reminding her of the future she had to protect. When her tears finally came, they were not just tears of sorrow, but tears of release. She knew this battle would test every fiber of her being. But the baby was worth fighting for, and so was her self-respect. As the sky outside turned crimson with the dying sun, Sophia packed her folders and left the office. By tomorrow night, her confrontation with Liam would be set into motion. She couldn't predict every twist that would unfold. But one thing was certain. Her final words to him would not be a plea. They would be a statement powerful enough to change everything. Shafts of golden light illuminated the sleek marble floors of the Rothschild penthouse when Liam finally arrived the next evening. He'd spent the day juggling phone calls with international investors, and as a guilty afterthought, sent a half-dozen white orchids to Sophia's office, an attempt to soothe whatever tension lingered from their phone call. When he stepped inside, he noticed the floral arrangement displayed prominently in the foyer, but there was no sign of Sophia. A quiet dread settled in Liam's stomach. The silence wasn't the comfortable hush of a loving home. It felt loaded heavy with anticipation. He loosened his tie and paced toward the living area, scanning the room in search of his wife. Nothing. Even the staff seemed to be absent tonight. He was about to call out for her when she emerged from the shadows near a picture window. "Thank you for the flowers," Sophia said, her voice steady, but her eyes unreadable. She wore a simple black dress, her hair pinned back, exposing the delicate lines of her neck. Liam felt his pulse quicken. There was a resolute aura about her, like an attorney stepping into the courtroom. He mustered a smile. "I'm glad you got them." An awkward pause. "Where's everyone?" "It's so quiet." "I asked the staff to take the evening off," she replied, stepping toward the dining table. A single-place setting was arranged with impeccable precision. "I thought we should talk privately." Something in her tone made Liam uneasy, yet he maintained his practiced composure. "Sure," he said, shrugging off his suit jacket. They both moved to the living area, taking seats across from each other. The distance between them felt like miles. Liam, never one for small talk, in tense situations dove in. "You said you haven't been feeling well lately. Is it the pregnancy?" Sophia pressed her lips together. "The pregnancy is fine. The baby is healthy according to my doctor." She hesitated, searching his face. "I'm the one who's not fine." You can tell me, Liam offered, lamely, painfully aware of how disingenuous he sounded. Sophia's stare hardened. "Don't you see the irony here, Liam? For months I've tried to tell you what I need. For months you've dismissed me or avoided me altogether. Now that you stand to lose something, you're suddenly concerned." "I'm not avoiding you," he defended, but his voice wavered. "I've had an insane schedule. You know how demanding these deals are." Sophia leaned forward. "Stop. Just stop pretending." She reached for a folder on the coffee table. "I have evidence photos of you and Camilla Deschamps, records of your meetups the nights you brought her here, even statements from our doorman and staff." She tossed the folder onto the cushion beside him. Liam's face went pale. "Sophia." "I don't insult me with more lies," she interrupted, tears shining in her eyes. "I'm carrying your child, Liam, and you've been flaunting another woman in our home." Desperation flared inside him. "It's complicated. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened." "It didn't just happen," she retorted. Voice cracking. "You made a choice repeatedly. This isn't a one-time mistake. You systematically betrayed me." A war of emotions raged across Liam's face, Anger, guilt, shame, and even a flicker of arrogance. I never said our marriage was perfect, he attempted. We both have demanding careers. We drifted apart, and Camilla. She made me feel alive again. It was a pathetic explanation, and they both knew it. Sophia laughed bitterly. Alive. Yes. While I dealt with morning sickness, doctor appointments, and the stress of running an environmental lawsuit, you ran off to find your excitement in a younger woman. Congratulations, Liam. You found your happiness. She gathered herself, standing abruptly. But don't assume I'll roll over and let you toss me aside. Not this time. He stood as well, breath coming in shallow bursts. I wasn't tossing you aside. This is your home. He fumbled for the right words. I still love you, Sophia. She shook her head, her voice dropping to a near whisper. You can't love me if you've done this. A tense quiet filled the space. Outside the city glimmered under the descending sun, unaware of the domestic battle raging within the penthouse walls. Finally, Liam approached her carefully as though worried she might shatter. What do you want from me? He asked, voice tight. I'll do anything. We can fix this. Can we? She challenged, tears streaming down her face. Or will you just run back to her the next time you need a rush? He swallowed. I'll end it with Camilla. Right now, if that's what you want. I'll call her. I'll do anything. Just, please don't give up on us. Sophia studied him, her eyes filled with hurt and something else, determination. I'm not making any decisions yet, but I needed to confront you with the truth. She placed a hand on her abdomen. This baby deserves a father who can be trusted. If that can't be you, I'll find another way. A sense of panic rose in Liam's chest. Sophia, you can't just take the baby and leave. We're in this together. She offered a sad smile full of heartbreak. You haven't been with me in a very long time. Before Liam could speak again, Sophia walked out, leaving him standing alone in the opulent living room that felt suddenly hollow. The confrontation, though explosive, felt incomplete, like the opening gambit in a chess match that could end in checkmate for either player. For the first time that night, Liam understood the magnitude of what he stood to lose. He sank onto the couch, the folder of incriminating evidence taunting him from the adjacent cushion. He thought of calling Camilla to break things off, but hesitated. In truth, he wasn't ready to let go of his double life. Yet the dread that accompanied that realization wrapped around him, constricting his chest. Somewhere in the apartment, Sophia was likely crying or maybe calmly strategizing her next move. The baby, a symbol of hope for their future, now served as a reminder of his betrayal. Liam knew he was on the precipice of ruin, but he still clung to the slippery slope of denial, convinced that a man of his wealth and charm could twist the narrative in his favor. He was wrong. The final blow had yet to land, and when it did, it would come in the form of two simple words from the woman he had so gravely underestimated. Across town, at a penthouse nearly as luxurious as Liam's Camilla Deschamps, stood before a vast mirror in her bedroom, scrutinizing her reflection. Her manager, a shrewd woman named Felicia Dawes, lounged on a chaise nearby, reviewing the final touches of Camilla's upcoming skincare line collaboration. How does this look? Camilla asked, turning from side to side in a gold sequined gown. I want to stun them at Tony Huang's charity gala. Felicia glanced up, pursing her lips. You look divine, but keep in mind the crowd. Philanthropists can be old-fashioned. Maybe tone it down with a shawl. Camilla rolled her eyes. Old-fashioned or not, I plan to catch every camera's attention. She stepped down from the platform, the train of her gown trailing behind her. Besides, Tony's invited me personally. He knows how I like to make an entrance. Felicia nodded, focusing on her notes. Speaking of Tony, we should talk about your relationship with Liam. Are you sure this is the right angle for your brand? Being known as the other woman carries risks. An amused smile curved Camilla's lips. Oh, Felicia, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Remember? She reached for a delicate diamond necklace, clasping it around her neck. Yes, it's scandalous, but it keeps my name on everyone's lips. It's catapulting my social media following. And once Liam invests in my brand, I'll have the capital to expand globally. Felicia hesitated. That's if he invests. Men like Liam can be unpredictable. Camilla lifted her chin. He will. Don't worry. She recalled his devotion, the luxurious trips, and the nights he vowed to make her dreams a reality. She conveniently ignored the wedding band he wore, or the fact that his pregnant wife might complicate matters. A knock on the bedroom door interrupted them. Camilla's personal assistant, Carmen, poked her head in. Ms. Deschamps. You have a visitor. Camilla's brows lifted. Did they give a name? Carmen shook her head. No, but he said it's urgent. Felicia and Camilla exchanged curious glances. Fine, send him in, Camilla replied, gesturing for Felicia to prepare for whatever might come next. Moments later, a tall, slim man with close-cropped hair and a confident stride entered. He introduced himself as Edgar Rhodes, a freelance journalist known for digging up juicy scoops on Manhattan's elite. A flicker of annoyance crossed Camilla's face. What can I do for you, Mr. Rhodes? Edgar smiled slickly. I have information that might interest you, regarding Liam Rothschild and his current predicament. Camilla folded her arms. And why would I care? I think you care a great deal, Edgar countered, glancing at Felicia and Carmen. Should we talk privately? Felicia intervened. We keep no secrets here. Say what you must. Unfazed Edgar pulled out a small recorder and a manila envelope. I've come across documentation that Liam's wife, Sophia Rothschild, has been gathering concrete evidence of his affair. Photo statements, the whole kit. The divorce attorneys in her circle are preparing to act. This could cost Liam a fortune. And you, he turned to Camilla, could be left with nothing if he's forced to cut ties. Camilla's jaw tightened. How do you have this? Edgar shrugged. That's my job. I get information. Now, for a small price, I can give you early access to these files, and you can decide how to spin this. Perhaps you negotiate a settlement with Liam before everything comes crashing down, or you leak the story on your own terms. Your call. Felicia's eyes narrowed. What are you asking for? 10,000 up front, Edgar said, without hesitation, and exclusive rights to any future expose if you two decide to go public with your side of the story. Camilla licked her lips, the gears in her mind turning. This could be the leverage she needed insurance, in case Liam wavered on his promises. Fine, she said coolly, but I need proof you're not just conning me. Edgar opened the envelope, revealing photocopies of what appeared to be detective reports, time-stamped photos of her and Liam, and a note referencing Sophia's pregnancy. Camilla's face hardened. Reading about Sophia's unborn child made her feel a flicker of annoyance, then anger. She'd known about the pregnancy, but seeing it in black and white brought a harsh reality to the surface. Time was running out for her to secure her position in Liam's life. All right, Camilla said, snapping the folder shut. Carmen will cut you a check. We have a deal. Edgar smiled like a cat that had just trapped a mouse. Pleasure doing business with you, Ms. Deschamps. Once Edgar was gone, Felicia let out a low whistle. You realize this is dangerous territory. If Liam finds out you're digging into this behind his back, it's better than waiting to be blindsided. Camilla cut in her tone icy. Liam promised me an investment. I won't let him slip away just because his pregnant wife wants to cry victim. She paused, her mind racing. I need to call him. Felicia eyed her warily. Remember, if you push too hard, you could drive him away. Camilla's jaw set. Then I'll need a delicate approach. First, I'll collect every shred of evidence Edgar gave us and gauge Liam's reaction. If he's still willing to keep me around, he'll prove it. Otherwise, I'll release a statement that will ruin both him and Sophia's carefully curated image. A wicked smile curled her lips. They think they can just write me off. We'll see. From across the room, Carmen fidgeted, clearly uncomfortable. But her loyalty and paycheck lay with Camilla. She handed over Edgar's documents, her gaze a mixture of fascination and caution. You're playing with fire. Camilla shrugged, an arrogant gleam in her eyes. I've never been afraid of the heat. In truth, however, a kernel of fear nestled in her chest. She knew exactly how powerful the Rothschild family was. If she lost Liam's protection, she could become a pariah in these elite circles, just another scandalous footnote. She refused to let that happen. She'd come too far to lose it all now. That night, Camilla dialed Liam repeatedly, only to be directed to voicemail. Each time her annoyance grew, as did her resolve. The next call she made was to Tony Huang's private line, an invitation to dinner. If Liam wasn't available, she'd explore other powerful avenues. In her mind, men like Liam and Tony were interchangeable. One of them would give her the life she wanted, and she intended to secure it by any means necessary. Liam woke to the sound of his phone buzzing incessantly on the nightstand. Dawn's first light filtered into the master bedroom, revealing the messy state he'd left it in. Discarded business papers, half-empty coffee cups, a testament to his restless night. He reached for his phone and saw dozens of missed calls from Camilla. Anxiety flared. Was she in trouble or just impatient? He texted her a quick note. Busy night. We'll call soon. Then he dragged himself to the shower, hoping to wash away the dread tightening around his chest. An hour later, he found Sophia seated at the kitchen counter sipping tea. She looked composed, but a subtle tension lingered in her posture. Morning, he offered, forcing a smile. Morning, she returned flatly. He hesitated. About last night. I want to talk more. I need to figure out how to make this right. Sophia gave him a level stare. I'm meeting with my legal team this afternoon. I'd like you to come. We can discuss our options with an impartial mediator. A cold sweat broke out along Liam's spine. Are we really at that point? Her gaze flicked to the windows. We're past that point, Liam. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed again. He glanced at it, saw Camilla's name, and felt a spike of panic. Sensing his urgency, Sophia's eyes narrowed. Answer it, she said, coolly, standing up and walking away. Liam let the call go to voicemail, heart pounding. He couldn't hold off Camilla forever, but the presence of Sophia forced him to bide his time. Later that morning, as Sophia left for her law firm, Liam retreated to his study. He closed the door, bracing himself, and called Camilla. She answered on the first ring. Where have you been? She demanded, voice sharp. I've been calling all night. I had a rough evening, Liam replied, rubbing his temples. Sophia confronted me with the affair. She's serious about taking legal action. A pause. She has evidence, doesn't she? He sighed. Yes, plenty. I don't know how she got it all, but she did. I'm trying to manage the damage. Well, manage it quickly, Camilla snapped. Because I have my own intel, and if we don't coordinate our stories, this could blow up in both our faces. Unless she added a seductive note creeping into her tone. You plan to throw me under the bus. I wouldn't advise that. Liam tensed. Is that a threat? Just a friendly reminder, darling, she purred. You have more to lose than I do. Keep me close, and we both come out on top. I'll handle it, he said, but the conviction felt thin. Let me deal with Sophia first. I'll be in touch. He hung up, anger and fear simmering inside him. The walls were closing in. He could practically feel the noose of scandal tightening around his neck. A part of him, the rational part, knew he had to cut ties with Camilla. But another part, the prideful part, refused to be manipulated. He wanted to find a way to keep his empire intact without bowing to either woman's demands. The morning devolved into phone calls with legal advisors, all urging him to negotiate with Sophia. One attorney friend, Michael Horowitz, warned him that if Sophia filed for divorce, under these circumstances, she could claim a significant portion of his assets. Prenuptial agreements mean little if there's proven infidelity, Michael reminded him. This is a public relations nightmare too. Your father's philanthropic legacy is at stake. By noon, Liam realized he was trapped in a labyrinth of his own making. His father's old friend, a retired judge named Warren Billings, also called to weigh in. Your father was a good man, Liam the judge said softly. Don't let your recklessness tarnish the Rothschild name. Liam felt heat rise to his cheeks. Guilt flooded him. He dismissed the call, too ashamed to continue. A bleak hopelessness began to set in, and he thought of Sophia's resolute gaze. He'd never seen her look at him that way, like he was a stranger. 2 hours later, he arrived at Sophia's law firm. She was already in a conference room with her team, 3 seasoned attorneys and a mediator. The room smelled of fresh coffee and tension. Liam sank into the seat opposite Sophia. One of her attorneys, Harriet Marks, initiated the discussion. Mr. Rothschild, Harriet said, folding her hands. We've called this meeting to discuss potential arrangements. Our main concern is Mrs. Rothschild's well-being and that of the unborn child. Liam tried to compose himself. I understand. I want to ensure they're both cared for. Sophia's jaw clenched. Cared for? This isn't a charity, Liam. It's a marriage you destroyed. He grimaced. I know I messed up. I'm asking for a chance to prove I can fix things. She glared, eyes brimming with contempt and hurt. You had months to fix things, yet you continued your affair. Why should I believe anything you say now? Harriet intervened, laying out proposals, spousal support, child support, shared custody agreements, therapy sessions. If both parties agreed, or immediate legal separation leading to divorce if no resolution was found. Each clause hammered home the severity of the situation. Liam's voice was low. I'll sign an agreement to attend counseling. I'll end my involvement with Camilla. Whatever you need, I'll do it. He glanced at Sophia with desperation. But please, let's keep the family intact. Sophia glanced at Harriet, who nodded, signaling it was safe to speak. I want you to end things with Camilla publicly, she declared. I want a statement. No more parties, no more late-night visits, no more contact. If you can't do that, we have nothing left to discuss. He exhaled shakily. All right, I'll do it. The mediator took notes and a potential outline of terms was drafted. The tension in the room lifted, if only slightly. For the first time in days, Liam felt a fragment of hope. Maybe he could salvage this. But once the meeting concluded, Sophia turned to him at the door. "Don't think for a second that this absolves you," she said softly. "Until you prove otherwise, I don't trust you, and I won't hesitate to walk away permanently if you break these terms." Liam swallowed hard. "I understand." They parted ways, and Liam marched to the elevator, a flurry of emotions raging inside him. He felt relief, dread, guilt, and a strange sense of resentment. Resentment at Sophia's cool detachment and at Camilla's manipulations. Yet he acknowledged he had orchestrated this entire catastrophe. No matter which path he chose, it would be littered with shame and consequences. As the elevator doors opened onto the bustling city streets, Liam prepared for the next battle. Calling Camilla and telling her it was over. For good. Little did he know a storm was already brewing, one that would make ending things with Camilla the least of his problems. Because Sophia hadn't yet played her final card, and the two life-changing words remained locked in her chest, waiting to be unleashed. 2 nights later, Tony Huang's charity gala blazed to life at a glittering art museum on 5th Avenue. The elite of New York turned out in full force, dressed in designer gowns and custom-tailored tuxedos, sipping expensive champagne while discussing the latest philanthropic endeavors. Photographers circled like vultures, hoping to capture a moment that could grace the tabloids. Camilla Deschamps made her grand entrance in the gold sequined gown she'd previewed in her mirror days ago. Paparazzi clamored for her attention. She flashed them a radiant smile, one honed over years of runway work. Her presence sparked murmurs. "Is she here with Liam Rothschild?" But Liam was conspicuously absent. Spotting Tony Huang, Camilla made her way over. He was deep in conversation with a few real estate associates, but paused to greet her. She placed a gentle hand on his arm, tilting her head in feigned curiosity. Enjoying the event, Tony nodded. "Yes, though it's missing a certain drama." He eyed her knowingly. "Is Liam joining us?" She forced a light laugh, swirling her champagne. "He might be delayed. Important meeting, I believe." She left the details vague. The truth was that Liam had called her earlier, cryptically insisting they meet in private to discuss their future. His tone had been tense. She suspected he was coming to end things, but she refused to be discarded like an old toy. Meanwhile, across town, Liam was pacing in his penthouse study, the phone pressed to his ear. On the other end was his attorney friend Michael Horowitz. "She's at Tony's gala," Liam muttered. "I'm supposed to go there, but—" Michael's voice crackled. "What's the point? You already decided to break it off with her. A public scene will only make things worse." Liam raked a hand through his hair. "I need to control the narrative. If I don't, she'll spin it her way. She's threatened to leak information about me. I can't risk that." A pause. "Then keep it civil. Give her a settlement if you must, but get it in writing that she won't speak publicly about the affair." Liam exhaled shakily. He hated the idea of forking over money to preserve his reputation, but his father's legacy and his own empire were on the line. "All right. I'll do it." They ended the call. Liam stared at his reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city lights sprawling behind him like a seductive invitation. For a moment he yearned for the simpler days when his life hadn't been so fractured. But there was no turning back. He grabbed his coat and stepped out the door, determined to make one final stand. When Liam arrived at Tony Huang's gala, cameras flashed in a frenzy. Reporters called out questions about his absence at recent high-profile events and the rumored marital troubles. He ignored them, forging a path inside. His gaze swept the grand foyer, eventually landing on Camilla, who was chatting animatedly with a group of socialites. He approached her with carefully measured steps. She turned at the rustle of his approach, her expression flickering from surprise to smug confidence. "You made it," she said, leaning in for a kiss on the cheek. He obliged stiffly. "We need to talk," he murmured, casting a glance around at the onlookers. "Oh, Liam, always so dramatic," she teased, grabbing his arm and leading him away from prying ears. They found a quieter corner near an abstract sculpture, so she asked, eyebrows raised, "What's the verdict?" He swallowed the knot in his throat. "This has to end. Camilla, I can't continue." She cut him off with a laugh that was far too loud. "Is that right?" Her eyes gleamed. "And you think you can just walk away after all you've promised me?" His jaw set. "I'm sorry for misleading you, but we both knew this was temporary. You can't pretend you didn't." Camilla's face hardened. "You lied to me. You said we'd travel, invest in my brand, start a life together. Now you're singing a different tune because Sophia cracked the whip." A surge of anger flared in him. "My wife is pregnant. I made vows. I can't simply discard my responsibilities." Camilla's anger matched his, but she willed herself calm, adopting a saccharine smile. "Fine. Then I expect a severance package enough for me to maintain my lifestyle without your presence. If you refuse, I'll go public." Liam felt his heart hammer. "How much?" She named a figure that made his head spin. He clenched his fists. It was obscene, but he'd pay it if it meant saving his marriage and reputation. "You'll sign an NDA," he snapped. She smirked. "Have the papers drawn up. I'll sign, and we'll consider this chapter closed." Before he could respond, a hush fell over the room. Eyes turned to the main entrance, where a new figure had arrived. Dressed in an elegant black gown, face set with unmistakable resolve, stood Sophia Rothschild. The pregnant wife had come to the lion's den, and the air pulsed with the electricity of impending confrontation. Liam's eyes widened. He hadn't expected Sophia here. She locked on to him, and Camilla striding forward, each step echoing through the high-ceilinged hall. Whispers spread among the elite guests. Tony Huang stiffened, sensing imminent drama, while the paparazzi lurking near the edges lifted their cameras. Camilla regained her composure, first plastering on a dazzling smile. "Mrs. Rothschild, how lovely to see you here." Sophia ignored her, focusing on Liam. "You said you had a meeting tonight," she stated calmly, though her eyes flashed with betrayal. "I see you're meeting with the reason our marriage is falling apart." Liam swallowed hard. "Sophia, I can explain." "No need." Sophia cut him off. She squared her shoulders, turning to address the small audience that had gathered. "I've come to say just 2 words to my husband. Words that carry all the weight of my decision." Camilla's smug expression faltered. Liam braced himself, heart pounding like a drum. Every onlooker leaned in, anticipating a dramatic pronouncement. Sophia's gaze never wavered from Liam's face. Her lips parted the faintest tremor in her voice, and she spoke, "It's over." A collective hush descended, the hush of realization of finality. In those 2 words, Sophia severed the last thread that bound them. Liam's world tilted. He reached out, voice cracking with urgency. "Sophia, please." She stepped back. tears glistening in her eyes, but her voice unwavering. "I tried to believe in you. I tried to keep faith for the baby's sake. But I can't do this anymore. We're done." She spared a single glance at Camilla. "Congratulations. You've both earned each other." A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd. Camilla's cheeks flushed crimson. Liam felt as though the ground had been yanked from beneath him. The cameras started flashing, capturing every second of the meltdown. Tony Huang, never one to miss an opportunity, stepped forward, diplomatically, ushering them away from the crowd. But the damage was done. The unstoppable force of public scrutiny had been unleashed. Sophia spun on her heel, striding purposefully toward the exit. Liam called after her, but his voice drowned in the sea of flashbulbs and gasps. In that moment, he understood the gravity of what he'd lost. The betrayal was no longer a secret whispered behind closed doors. It was now an indelible mark on his public life, his marriage, and his unborn child's future. Camilla eyes stormy glared at him. "Well done," she hissed. "All this spectacle, and we're both out in the cold. I hope it was worth it." Liam didn't respond. He was too busy watching his pregnant wife disappear through the grand doors, taking with her the last remnants of the love and trust they once shared. He felt hollow, like a skyscraper whose foundation had collapsed. The hush of the scandalized crowd pressed in, and for once Liam Rothschild had nothing to say. The Rothschild scandal had saturated every tabloid headline. "Heiress lawyer walks out on cheating billionaire," screamed the press with daily updates on Liam's downfall and Sophia's rising public support. The betrayal, the mistress, the public confrontation, it all became fodder for relentless coverage. Camilla, ever opportunistic, sold her version of events to a glossy magazine. Her NDA limited tale painted her as a naive victim, swept up by a charming billionaire. Public opinion was divided, but Camilla basked in the attention, using the surge in followers to boost her skincare brand. Sympathy wasn't her goal, visibility was. Sophia pressed on with the divorce, unwavering and clear in her demands, shared custody child support, and personal independence. She showed up to every hearing calm and poised her baby bump visible beneath tailored suits. Despite Rothschild lawyers' attempts to delay proceedings, Sophia's resolve was unshakable. Liam, meanwhile, found himself in freefall. His legal team urged settlement. His father's associates warned him of the brand damage, and still nothing stung more than Sophia's final words at the gala. "It's over." He drifted through his days, haunted by what he'd destroyed. One snowy morning, he appeared at the modest townhouse Sophia had rented. Holding a bouquet of lilies, her favorite, he stood on the stoop like a man seeking absolution. When Sophia opened the door, she looked peaceful, distant. Her hand rested on her stomach. "I came to apologize," he said quietly, offering the flowers, "and to ask if I can still be part of the baby's life." Sophia took the bouquet, but didn't move from the threshold. "You will have visitation rights," she replied. "But it's finished." Liam nodded, lips trembling. "I understand." The moment hung between them like a final chord in a song that had long since ended. Then softly, Sophia said, "Goodbye, Liam," and closed the door. Months later, Sophia gave birth to a son, Oliver. Liam visited bearing gifts and guilt. Sophia kept boundaries firm, civil but cold. Her life as a single mother and high-powered attorney bloomed. Camilla, chasing her next opportunity, faded into a new scandal. As for Liam, He buried himself in philanthropy, maybe to honor his father, maybe to ease his guilt. But at night, in the silence of a penthouse that once echoed with laughter, he understood trust once broken rarely returns. And sometimes 2 words are enough to end everything you thought was forever. And there you have it, a whirlwind saga of power, betrayal, and heartbreak, proving that wealth can't guarantee happiness, and secrets never stay hidden for long. When Liam Rothschild laughed with his mistress, he forgot the reality waiting in the shadows. A pregnant wife armed with 2 devastating words. It's over. Through the scandals and tears, each character learned a hard truth about love, loyalty, and the price of ambition. If you found yourself captivated by every twist and turn, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you riveting stories of high-stakes drama. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another tale of forbidden passion, betrayal, and redemption. Thank you for joining us on this emotional roller coaster. And remember, sometimes the biggest lessons are hidden in life's most shocking betrayals. Until next time,